Welcome to a build guide and review video of School Nurse Yulha. In terms of these build guides and reviews, as usual, we'll go over any stat lines for the characters. This includes their artifacts, any multiple different builds that are available, and of course we'll review the character, how strong they are in different game modes, and then lastly go over any teams that you can use with the character or combo units that are pretty good with Yulha. So to get started, I will say attack, effectiveness, and effect resistance are all stats that are not necessary on Yulha, so use them accordingly to your preferences. Attack allows you to get a little bit more damage out of your Yulha, but be wary that you do get attack conversion from your HP, so you're probably going to be better off just building more HP rather than trying to squeeze out some stats into your attack. Effectiveness makes it more consistent that you land your bleeds, and bleeds are going to be your primary damage source if you choose to be her as like your sub damage dealer. And effect resistance you can't go wrong with. Although she has a cleanse in her kit, having effect resistance means that she can not have to worry about some random debuffs getting applied to her. For instance, maybe she's getting too many debuffs applied to her. Effect resistance can possibly slow that down. Or our number one worst enemy, a defense break. If a defense break has the possibility of coming out, the ER can prevent her from getting a defense break on her. Now, of course, usually if you want to play ER, you have to be around like 100 to 110 ER at the minimum, so it is a lot of stats to give up if you do choose to do it, but it's once again preference. But in terms of actual general stat lines, let's go on over to the speed build. Now, both of these builds are going to be on speed set, but this is going to be more towards the higher speed thresholds. So to get started, our defense is going to be at a minimum of 1300. Now, if you can get up to 1400, that is preferable, but when you're at these higher speed thresholds, it might be a little bit harder to get there. In terms of your HP, I do think the minimum is probably 20k, but I think you should be around 22,000 or higher. Realistically, I think that's the better way to go about it. You just want to be as bulky as possible, but it might be a little bit hard to get to those HP values at this high speed, so that's why I say 20k is your lowest that you could possibly go. You do not want to be below 20k HP, and maybe 21k I think is probably my preference, where I don't want to be any lower than. Your speed is going to be from 250 to 270. The closer you are to the 250 threshold, the higher your bulk stat should be. So you should be pushing near that 1400 defense, and you should be pushing near maybe 22k HP if you can, if you're that low on your speed. But once again, if you can't reach it, you can't reach it. Now, once you reach like that 270 speed, I do think that is your limit. If you go any higher than that, you're probably sacrificing way too many of your bulk stats, so it's going to be a lot harder for you to survive as Yulha. For this build here, you can probably run either the Master of Nightmare, which was the limited artifact that ran before Yulha. This allows her to take extra turns very randomly, but it allows her to cycle her S3. Otherwise, you can use Shepherd or Chaos or Proof of Valor. These both are damage mitigation artifacts. Shepherd or Chaos does not proc at max HP. It is near lower HP, so it's a little bit less reliable, while POV is guaranteed damage reduction. Now, while I'm on the topic of being on the faster end, if you do choose to play above 270 speed, so you can probably set up for like a key reversal, you can do so. It's just that you're just not going to have that bulk. Now, this is the lower speed build where we're going to be playing actually under 240 speed, and this is where we're going to push our bulk as much as possible. So maybe 220 speed or 210 is probably the minimum. I would probably say 220. And you want to sit around, once again, 1400 defense, but at a cap of like above 1500 defense. And our HP, we want to sit around 23k or higher. This way we are just bulking up. And if you can go higher than these stats, you can go higher than these stats. And the artifact choices do not matter. Once again, it is probably between Master of Nightmare or POV or Shepherd Chaos. Those were preferably the best ones that you can use, as long as it has some support capabilities or just keeping you alive. Now let's go on to the actual review of the character. So I'm probably just going to go from left to right in terms of her kit, because superhumanization is honestly pretty huge part of her kit. So I'll just go over the rest of the other parts. So her S1 has a her bleeds, and then when you soul burn, you attack a second time. And from what I've learned, Master of the Nightmare actually can proc on each one of those hits. Now, of course, you can only get the actual extra turn once, but it has a chance to proc off of the first hit, and then once you do the extra attack, it has the chance to proc off that second hit. So effectively, if you're at a plus 15 Master of the Nightmare, it's actually around like a 42% chance of proccing, which is actually kind of crazy. And if you are at a plus 30 Master of the Nightmare, it's actually around a 50% chance of you getting that extra turn proc, which is crazy if you think about it. The actual bleed damage is actually very, very good. So if you do your burn, you're actually going to see some pretty good damage numbers come out of her. Now, her passive I actually like quite a lot. You're not going to get a ton of healing out of it. It's roughly around 2k healing, around like 20k HP, like 20 to 21k HP. It's going to sit around like 2000 to 2.3 for most builds. If you are around 30k HP for some reason, it's going to be like 3.1k. My favorite part about the passive is that it acts like almost like a sweet miracle for all your units. You get one free cleanse, right? As long as they take a turn, and Yulha herself does not need to take a turn to cleanse those debuffs. So it's a really nice way to shake off some of those debuffs that were on you without actually needing to run a hard cleanser. Because one thing, for instance, in RTA, you're always playing the who's going to hold their buttons longer game, because they have a debuff or you have a cleanser. If you push your cleanse off of something else, they're going to rip your debuffs. Yulha allows you to just passively get rid of some of those debuffs that are on you without needing a hard cleanser. Now, of course, if you have too many debuffs on you, it's going to overload your passive, and it's not going to feel as effective, but for most games, it's going to feel good. Now, as for her superhumanization, this is the meat and bones of her kit, and it is honestly ridiculous. It allows you to do stupid amounts of things with the characters in the game as long as they exist. Now, of course, this works the best with HP bruisers because it makes them borderline unkillable. I mean, this is kind of the same thing for any other person you use superhumanization on, but it works especially well with bruisers because their HP values are usually sitting around 25k plus. So you can only imagine if you use superhumanization on them that they're going to be sitting around 50,000 to 60,000 HP, and you've even seen it on Reddit that there was like a 100k redoc where Bride Senya gets at around 90,000 HP. It's a ridiculous amount, and if you think about it, you are not doing any damage to anyone who has that much HP. So it makes them extremely good. And of course, this adds 100% speed to them, which makes them extremely aggressive. Now, this is only the direct way to use her. Now, if you decide to use her on other characters like your actual speed DPS like Freerin, your Renox, your Selines, now your DPS is actually super fast to the point that they lap around your opponent, which, although yes, you're not getting the huge benefit of your HP buff in comparison to your HP bruisers you're using, but now you have a super aggressive DPS. Now you can also use this on your support characters if you want to use them on your knights. So now you have an unkillable Aureus Knight, or maybe you want to use it on your Soul Weaver, so your Soul Weaver heals your team even more. Once again, superhumanization makes you do ridiculous amounts of things. And not to mention, it gives you a 50% CR push, which pretty much means you also, once again, are super aggressive with this character. Now, this character is very good in PvE content. I can't see her being bad in PvE content. I don't know how much content she can actually be used in, but she does a lot of things for your other characters on your team. Superhumanization is just such a ridiculous buff that I can't see her being bad. And once again, she has this very nice sub healing to keep your team alive. It's not a ton, but every little bit matters. And she has this self cleanse, which I think is very useful in some content. Will she be the best option? Probably not, but it's something to have on your bench, on your tool, in your toolkit, just so you can use in some PvE content. So you can have some level of usage for that. So honestly, I really think she is a very, very good unit. I can't see her being bad for Guild Wars. She pretty much did a ridiculous amount of damage using Ross, and you literally using Ross plus her. Because there's only 3 units left, you just watch Ross plus her just completely deck it the entire team for 50,000 damage, which is 20,000 damage more than their HP bar. And that was at 30 targets. Like, she's very, very strong. Now, as usual, we're going to go over to our combo units. Now, pretty much, once again, she works with literally everything in the game. I haven't had any issues. For the most part, most of the meta units she should be working with, Emma, Luna, like they should work with them. You can probably find some more things to use in the future. She feels kind of timeless in a way, where superionization is just such a powerful buff that it's going to work for any bruisers that come in the future, right? So the best combo felt like Ross for Guild Wars content. Because there's only 3 targets, you're automatically getting Ross's damage boost. You boost up Ross, you do 50,000 damage. It's pretty much a clean sweep. Ravi is kind of borderline unkillable when you use her with Yulha, and this is mostly going to be for RTA, but she does function in Arena. Guild Wars, some teams do work, but once again, borderline unkillable, and every time someone dies, Ravi gets a War God, and if you add a War God on top of superhumanization, that character is dead. Billion usually holds 3F. Having superhumanization, now you have a 60k Billion with 3F pop, so now her pop damage is like 8k damage. And that's kind of the same thing for Luna. When you have like a 60,000 HP Luna and you press S2, you're probably popping them for like 8 to 9k damage. It's ridiculous. Setsuka has some HP scaling, so, and also not to mention, if you boost HP to 50,000, you're ignoring ER and everyone on the team, no matter what their HP value is. Barunka is an unmovable wall. If you give it 50,000 HP, they're not killing it. And these are some other characters that it does work on, but obviously not as good as this top row, but they're still HP bruisers. So, oh, well, this is not HP bruiser, but it still works, right? Leafy I actually had a lot of fun with, because giving her superhumanization makes her extremely fast, so she gets her Omen buffs really quickly. And because of the superhuman, the actual heal from the tentacle did like 10k heal to my tank. I had a clip on my phone, so I'll put it on screen maybe, but it's not going to look as good because I wrote it on my phone, but it was still really cool. And once again, we have some speed DPSs that can probably do pretty well. Well, Para's kind of an opener, but if you give her superhumanization, then every time she takes a turn, she pushes up the rest of your team, so it kind of makes her super aggressive as an opener. Renok is pretty good with it. It makes her stupid fast because most Renoks are above 300 speed. You give her 100% extra speed, now she's like 400. It's ridiculous. Free Ren make her even more unkillable than she already was. And yeah, like once again, I only put some of the notable ones down here, but realistically, you can use so much other characters. Like, technically, Ed is a HP scaler, so imagine you give him a superhumanization. Milam, give her superhumanization, now she's super fast. You can give it to Arya, Blue Arya maybe. Well, it won't work that well, but you can still give it to her. You can give it to Fene, you can give it to Fern, you can give it to, there's so many options. You can give it to Rem if you want to, not really, but yeah, it works. You can give it to Rem, you can give it to SSB, right? You can give it to, like, there's so many people you can give it to. You can give it to Lencia, I forgot about her. Like, superhumanization is just so strong. It's, you can use it on anyone. You can use it on anyone, and that's the reason why it's such a strong character. This character works with so many things. So anyways, if you enjoyed, you can leave a like, you can subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.